Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, in today's video, I'm just going to talk about Hailey and the genuine identity crisis this character is having right now. So, let's get right on into today's video. So, let's start off by playing a game. The game we're going to play is Whose Build Is This? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 3, 2, 1. If you said this is Hailey's build, you would be incorrect. This build belongs to Bunny. Now, let's play this game again. I'll put the build up on screen and tell me whose build it is this time. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 3, 2, 1. If you said Hailey's build, you're absolutely correct. That shows you basically the variation of build variety inside of this game. And not to say that this is a bad thing, I'm actually genuinely impressed how they managed to make Hailey almost as good as Bunny, but slightly worse than Bunny ripoff, especially with skills. Now, I'm going to talk about Hailey's sniping skills, because even those are significantly lackluster right now, but first let me talk about what she is capable of as a skilled Descendant. So, Hailey can absolutely destroy things. She does plenty and plenty of damage, and her electric condense is not too bad either. It is a little bit slow, and my two biggest gripes with it is that Hailey still feels a little bit clunky whilst you basically make this or do this style of gameplay with her. She obviously is not designed to be a skilled Descendant. She was designed intentionally as a gunning Descendant, but still doing over 1 million damage with her first ability is absolutely great. She does a lot of damage. If you think the gameplay is dying, it's not. Just Purge is just screwed as an entire game mode. As you can see here, her condenses just absolutely rip apart and do plenty of damage. Her one, she's very capable, and from a Descendant who went from basically being the slowest to one of the fastest in the game, it's a very nice and pleasant change. The biggest thing that I would say is that you can just use her in a very Bunny-esque manner. As a Bunny main, Hailey feels very reminiscent of Bunny. It's just that she very much fundamentally lacks a few major things, but we'll talk about that later. I just wanted to put a little bit of light on the fact that she is definitely a strong Descendant. She doesn't lack anything significantly anymore, and there's a lot of people that are really investing hard in her, and they should. She's great. She's overall a very good Descendant. However, I want to talk about a few of the other things and the reason why I specifically dislike her based off the direction of the character that they have taken. So, with all of the positives out of the way, let's start off and get on into the negatives with Hailey. This will include her skill build as well as her sniping build, so yeah, let's get on into it. So let's start off with her abilities. Her first ability is good. It has a lot of AoE, it does a lot of damage. I'm testing on level 190 Legion of Breach inside of the lab. There's 50 of them, but this genuinely does good damage. It's got good AoE. I do think that in some tighter dungeons it can become a flashbang, especially in stuff like actual 400%. It can definitely make it hard for you to see, borderline stop you from seeing. That's one of the things I would hope that they would fix / change. Other than that, I wish her 4 would be a little bit more fluid and have a little bit more range. When it comes to the 4th ability, her range is definitely a little bit lacking compared to Bunny. And I know you are probably wondering why I'm slamming and comparing her against Bunny. It's because, well, Bunny is the best mobber in the game. And if you're going to do the job and make Hailey into a skill Descendant, at least do it properly. Now, when you use Hailey's first and her 4th ability together and start spraying it, you'll notice that her first ability has like a stop. Even with a cooldown cap with Hunter set and with cooldown on the tree and everything, it stops you in a way from spamming it, which is kind of annoying. And then her 4th ability also does slow you down. Again, this is kind of annoying. Please just go ahead and remove this and make it so she doesn't slow down. And the second of her animation, you know what, that's fine. Bunny has a charge up animation for condense as well. Doesn't really make a difference. But just in general, the main thing I would say is, if you are gonna go and, go down this route, make Hailey the best she can be. If you're gonna go and dedicate her and completely change her identity as a character from a gunning to a skill Descendant, please just don't half-ass it. Even your baseline for skill Descendants is silly, and in Ace, being that baseline is kind of cooked because Bunny is genuinely better in like almost every way. So you can see here, even with Hunter set and with the cooldown, I'm still getting that same clunk on her first ability. I definitely want that clunk removed and, you know, just make her play a little bit nicer. She's already in a great position, but she can go from being an S tier to easily an SSS tier. Just please fix that one, is my take on her skills as of right now. So now let me talk about Hailey's sniping build and why this is like so crazy to me. With the piercing light and these mods here, you literally don't even need power beyond. What you can essentially do with Hailey is take advantage of a very hard hit from the piercing light and build it up for multi and make it annihilate. We use the annihilation set to basically get more damage, we use defense neutralization to strip away as much defenses as we can, and we use multi-hit on a piercing light. Now, when we spawn in the wall crasher, for example, like one of the higher tiers bosses in this game, use Hailey's third ability, shoot once so we get the weak point expansion of the piercing light, defense neutralization, we'll shoot him 3 times, first time defense neutralizes him, second time puts us in the right HP territory for annihilation to activate, and then third time makes our HP so low that walk tightrope activates. As you can see there, we hit a total of 79 million, a literal chunk off the wall crasher's health, right? And that's with a single piercing light bullet. Now, if we spawn Wall Crasher in again, except this time, we switch over to using Hailey's literal dedicated sniping build with her new amazing red mod called Camouflage Sniping, and use a whole damage based setup on it, and along with that use a damage based tree for Colossi with chill chain catalyst so that our abilities do even more hit damage. This is essentially what we get. I will hit him with the same 3 or 4 hits with the sniping, and as you can see here, these already do significantly more damage than the other one. But even with this, a snipe to the knee puts us at 30 to 40 million, and a second bullet is what takes us over to hitting this tier of damage, and in the end we hit about 150 million. If we do that with the piercing light with the multi setup, all we have to do is shoot once, reload, and then shoot again, and you'll basically burst another 50 mil. So it's definitely faster to do that with basically just the piercing light. As for the Infernal Walker, basically giving him the same treatment, this is kind of what you get. You'll hit him, and even with the 3 hits on the camouflage sniping, you'll see that we've taken over half of his shield off, and despite that, even a shot to a weak point is not even enough to one-shot him. I have to shoot him a second time with the camouflage sniping for it to take effect and kill him. And let me just use the piercing light where we don't use anything other than Hailey's third ability and her first ability to defense neutralize. Let's spawn the Infernal Walker in again, and we have a situation where we see that once we activate it, hit it with the reload, strip his defenses, and as you can see here, the third ability literally hits for even less damage, and once we hit a weak point, one shot, literally, and even more damage. It's so cooked how a piercing light on its own is still literally stronger than the Zenith, despite them adding cores into it. How have you made a character who is a literal sniper weaker than just using a regular flipping gun? It doesn't make sense. For them to basically go ahead and completely revere and 180 a character's entire identity from being a sniping beast to basically being a skill descendant is a very dangerous choice. But in this game, I say that they had to make this choice and they had no choice. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Their relevant and baseline for their guns is this. And if you've played this game, you'll know that this as a baseline is absolutely fucking wild. The fact that they had to basically bring Hailey up to Serena's level with weapons or with a gunning build, well, let's be realistic, it is genuinely just not possible. And I know you might be like, well, they did it in terms of skills, right? But that's still not the point here. The fact that they couldn't even meet their own baseline and they had to basically resort to completely 180ing and 8-6ing an entire playstyle from their character because of the fact that they couldn't meet their own baseline is fucking insane. Having a character this strong in the game really has 180'd and changed a lot of things. But let me show you what Hailey was like before her buff, just to put this into perspective, because these mobs are getting annihilated by Serena, and just this dungeon gets annihilated by Serena because she's just that powerful. Just to hammer the point home, this is Hailey gameplay from Void Erosion 10. The mobs have not become any weaker, by the way, and these are still weak to chill. So this is Hailey at basically what would have been almost her prime in gunning, essentially mobbing in, well, the state she was before she got updated. They had the job to turn this into Serena. They literally cannot do that. And this is also relevant for Glay and for basically every other Descendant in the game who requires gun usage or is a gun Descendant. Nell is another example of this, but Hailey is a very much of a bigger example of this because Nell has a skill build as well, and her skill build is better than her gunning build. Hailey now suffers from the same thing. Her skill build is better than her gunning build, and even Glay can literally not be tuned to Serena's level of being a literal god in this game. Hailey had that too. Her third ability would give you crits on all guns. Her third would also slow you down. Instead of doubling the damage to all of the weapons on the crit or something, and basically just buffing the speed from a reduction to a plus, and you know, giving it 100% multi chance and making the weapons overall a bit stronger because of her ability, they had no choice but to convert her into I'm going to use skills. This is something that is essentially going to happen to Glay as well, because no matter what you do to Glay, she still will never be as strong as Serena. When your baseline is fucking abysmal, every single one of your characters basically get forced into turning into, we're gonna make them a skill build that can do literally everything slop, but worse than the actual mobbing Descendants, or almost as good as the mobbing Descendants. It's a curse due to what they've done with the game, and it's sad to see because essentially every character that's not Serena will have basically conformed to having a skill build when their ultimate comes out, if they don't have one already, and if they do have one, once they get reviewed and reworked, they're going to be in the same position. I just think that this is crazy because they are afraid to buff guns and make guns any stronger, because as they said in their interview, if they make guns any stronger, they also raise the high point of Serena. So they're sandwiched in terms of, we can't upgrade the guns, so what can we do with the gunning Descendants? The only option that they see as a way out is, well, now it's going to be a skill Descendant. And for someone who used Hailey so much in preseason and carried bosses with her left, right, center, and she was truly one of the best gun Descendants in the game, and her character identity literally revolved around that. Nexon fought the community and said that her speed reduction is a part of her character. The fact that they removed it basically symbolizes the fact that they don't care about the character anymore. That's just basically how it's going to be. I dislike this direction on Hailey, specifically because of all of the changes and because of what they did to a character versus what they stood for with the character. Every single character has their own trait / identity. Bunny has the identity of being the fastest in the game, or for just being a speedster. Serena has the identity of being an angel, or being something of the sort, you know, blah blah blah, being an ancestor, being an old wrinkly fucking bitch. You get my point. But each character should have something unique and something that would genuinely make them stand out from each other. I think that if it was up to me, or what I would have changed on Hailey, is I would have just simply tripled the damage or made the damage almost similar to what it is now with her red module. I would have changed her speed reduction and put it as a speed bonus to about 50%, basically what they did anyways. And I think the biggest thing is that I would have also made her third ability change the way it works fundamentally. I would have still made it reach 100% crit, but within the process I would have allowed for it to give 100% multi chance and also have a 35% chance of not using ammo at a random interval. So let's say, for example, if you're shooting a Enduring Legacy or something, or a last dagger with 20 bullets in it, when you reach bullet 15 it doesn't consume ammo for like 1 second, and then after that you go back to using ammo, and at like, let's say bullet 9, you don't use ammo for a second again, so that way your ammo drains significantly slower in the mag and stuff like that. Stuff to basically support guns. Whether you wanted to add the final masterpiece effect to everything with Hailey or something like that, there was more options than just slapping on electric condenser Hailey. That's where I kind of disagree with where they took Hailey's direction. Her sniping build, which was her main identity and basically the reason why Hailey was such a successful bossing character, has been reduced to smithereens. Even adding AoE onto sniping with her camouflage sniping build just doesn't really help. If anyone is running into dungeons, there is a very low chance of them using camouflage sniping Hailey, and if they are, that dungeon will take them 25 minutes to run the same dungeon as it would take another mobbing Descendant to run it in like maybe 5 minutes or 2 minutes at best. I dislike a lot of the things that they have done with Hailey, and I truly wish that they would do it a little bit different. But that's my take on Hailey specifically, from being a preseason player and truly being one of the people who really felt like Hailey had honestly been done wrong. A lot of people will like Hailey now because of the fact that she's viable, she's strong, so on and so forth. And I agree, she is great. But to see them basically drift away from what truly made the character special back in preseason, when we needed a hero, Nexon delivered us Hailey, and now we need a hero again, and Hailey's return genuinely missed the mark.